for whom the reason behind all the problems in the world is gas, acidity. Like I'm sure your mothers are also like that. If you go to your mother and you tell your mother, Ma, this is the problem, your mother would say, Aro phone e dhuke thak, Aro phone ghant na. Ma, এই এক্সামে না ভালো পরীক্ষার কোয়েশ্চেন কমন পড়েনি, হ্যাঁ তুমি সারাক্ষণ মোবাইলে ঢুকে থাকো, আর কি করে হবে? I'm sure how many of you would agree with me? Would you agree that your mother would think that all the problem in the world is because you are into the mobile phone? My mother similarly thinks that all the problems, the reason behind all the problem is gas. Like when I was very young, I will tell, Ma, I'm not feeling good, I will not go to school today. Why? Do you have gas? Ma, I don't think I'm understanding mathematics well. Why? কালকে রাত্রে রুটি খেয়েছিলি তোর গ্যাস হয়ে গেছে না, তোর রুটি সহ্য হয়। মা, আমি মাসি বাড়ি যাব না, ও অনেক দূর যেতে ভালো লাগে না, ক্লান্ত হয়ে যাই। হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু তুই তাহলে অল্প একটু মুড়ি টুড়ি কিছু খেয়ে যাবি, দুধ দুধ কিছু খাবি না, গ্যাস হবে না, যেতেই পারবি, কোনো অসুবিধা হবে না। মা, আই এম আ লিটল ডিপ্রেসড, আমার মন ভালো লাগছে না কিছু। কেন রে, গ্যাস হয়েছে নাকি? This is my mother, true story. In everything in the world, she believes that the main reason behind all the problems in the world is gas. আজকে যদি আমার মাকে জিজ্ঞেস করি, মা, এই যে রাশিয়া ইউক্রেনকে অ্যাটাক করলো, এটা কেন করলো বলো তো? Sure, gas. Vladimir Putin must have had gas. I am sure some way or the others he's going to connect everything to gas. Everything. You would think that I'm making this up, huh? True story. So I was in Calcutta working. One day, early in the morning, my mother called me. Over the phone, she's crying. Now, when you wake up and you get the call from your mother and your mother is crying, you get scared, right? I got scared. I said, what happened? My mom, with tears in her eyes, said that my cousin brother, that means my own uncle's youngest son, he was 17 years old when he committed suicide. For some stupid problem that there was, he committed suicide. My mother was crying over the phone, and I'm like shocked. I'm like, immediately I'm coming. So I reached back to my home, and it's a very, very bad sight, right, guys? It's a very bad situation. A 17-year-old young boy has committed suicide. All the relatives are crying, all the relatives have come, the entire village is there, everybody is crying. My mother is crying, my auntie is crying, my uncle is crying, everybody is crying. There were tears in my eyes also. Amongst all these things, my mother came to me and said, তোর ভাইটা কত ভালো ছিল রে, ওর কোনো দোষ ছিল না, জীবনে কোনো অসুবিধা ছিল না, মাঝে মাঝে একটু গ্যাসের প্রবলেম ছিল, তার বাইরে কোনো প্রবলেম ছিল। This is what my mother is. Even when the youngest son, 17-year-old kid, has committed suicide, even at that point of time, with all sincerity and everything, she's talking about gas. I said, Ma, please, এখন তো বন্ধ করো অন্তত, এখন আবার কেন গ্যাস ব্যাস? আমি কি মিথ্যে কথা বলছি নাকি? ওকে জিজ্ঞেস করো, আমাকে সব বলেছিল, ওই ছেলেটা আমাকে বলতো যে ঠিক আমার না একটু গ্যাস হয়েছে। My mom thought that I am questioning the truth or essence of the truth, wherein that is the belief that she always have, even today. If I call her up and I tell that, this is what had happened, she would definitely link it up with gas. Now, let's see. Who can, Bina, describe my mother? Abina, describe my mother. আর কেন না বুঝতে পারে? কি স্টোরিটা বুঝতে পারলি না?
হ্যাঁ স্যার বুঝেছি।
স্টোরিটা বুঝতে পারছি, কিন্তু আমার মাকে বুঝে উঠতে পারছি। Is that how it is? Miss Singh, can you describe my mother? Miss Singh is not there.
Sir, I said
Kumkum, please go ahead.
she was at us for gas problem. Problem of gas.
Manjusha, how would you describe my mother? Kumkum is saying that she is suffering from acute gas problem.
Suffering from gas problem and she panics all time.
And she panics all the time. Okay. Anyone else would like to describe my mother?
Sir,
Yes, Saurabh.
sir, she is very simple lady. She not a complicated woman.
Right.
She is very simple woman.
And she
That
believes
is
that all the world has a very simple reason and solution behind it. Okay. Now let me summarize. I want all of you to pay attention. I asked all of you to describe your parents, right? And I described my parents. Whose parents would you remember? After the description, which one would you remember? Tell me. Tell me. A lot of people describe parents today. Saurabh described the parents, Chinmoy did, Kumkum did, Shaboni did, Aparajita, you also did. Right? I believe Avik also did. No, Avik did not. So you all talked about your parents. I also talked about my parents. So apart from your parents, অন্য কার প্যারেন্টসের কথা তোদের মনে থাকবে আজকের এই ক্লাসটা?
Sir, your parents.
Sir, absolutely your parents.
কেন?
Sir, many stories.
Very good.
Stories and the
Now you
style
have
of presentation.
Yes, sir. Style and presentation.
Style is fine.
Stories and
The style is
your story is very funny.
Aparajita,
Funny.
Miss Singh is saying it is because it's very funny. But yes, you're right. It is because of the story. Now, when Saurabh was talking about the parents, Saurabh also told a story that one day one beggar had come to ask for sari. The mother wanted to give the sari, but the father said, "Today you don't give the sari." He asked the beggar to come back some days later. By that time, the father had procured or bought a new sari. And when the beggar came again, the father gave that sari. And this taught Saurabh that always, if you have to give something to someone, give them with the full respect as you would like to receive something. If anybody gives you something, as you expect them to give you the new stuff, good stuff, similarly, when you give something to others, give something which is new or give something which is good. Whose mother was it who had given golden ornament? Was it Aparajita?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now, about Saurabh's description and Aparajita's description and about my description of our parents, you know, the common thing is a story. Anytime you will have to describe anything, be it yourself, be it your village, be it your school, be it your course, be it your challenge, be it your growth, be it your success, be it your failure. Anytime if you have to describe anything, always try to describe the thing with a small little story alongside it. Of course, I have the time, so I give you a very funny and a stupid and long story. Obviously, in an interview table or in a conversation, you would not get opportunity to talk about such kind of stories. That's not what I want you to replicate. What I want you to replicate from today's class is, and that is what I actually want to take up next time. I want you to get this idea that people remember not the formal description that you give in a conversation. If I ask you to talk about India, and if you start by saying that India is my motherland, it's a great country, it has a history of these many thousand years, and this is a country of many religion, of many castes, many creed, many languages, vast territory, it has got mountains, it has got oceans, it has got minerals. Primarily, this country thrives on agriculture. Later on, other businesses like service and all that. বুঝতে পারছিস এই যে এতক্ষণ ধরে আমি বলছি না এর একটা জিনিসও মাথায় থাকবে না কেন মাথায় থাকবে না বলছি কেন এগুলো খুবই ফর্মাল ব্যাপার আমি যদি বলি আজ থেকে 14-15 বছর আগে ওকে one Punjabi gentleman became the prime minister because one Christian lady gave up the seat, and that Punjabi gentleman took an oath of becoming the prime minister from a Muslim president. That is the beauty of the country that we are talking about. বুঝতে পারছিস কার কথা বলছি মনমোহন সিং যখন প্রাইম মিনিস্টার হয়েছিলেন তখন সোনিয়া গান্ধী ওখান থেকে সরে এসেছিলেন এবং এপিজে আব্দুল কালামের থেকে শপথটা নিয়েছিলেন So when I say it is a country where a Punjabi prime minister becomes a prime minister because a Christian lady steps down and the Punjabi guy takes the oath from a Muslim president in a country where majority of the population is Hindu, that is what is India. If I say something like that, এটা অনেকটা বেশি এফেক্ট দেয় আমি কি বোঝাতে পারছি আজকের ক্লাসের এসেন্সটা whatever you say on the basis of either example or on the basis of a story. Okay? It always leaves better impact. It is lesson number 1. Is the lesson number 1 understood? That try to speak in a form of a story or in a form of an example. Okay? That's the lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is, এটা তোদের জন্য বলছি, এটা বলার জন্য না. If you look at it, you would find that there are bad memories that has happened in my life, like my father having cancer operation, my cousin brother committing suicide. Right? These are bad memories. কিরে খারাপ তো স্মৃতি এগুলো এই স্মৃতিগুলো মানুষ যত মানে খারাপ ভাবে মনে রাখবে তত বেশি কষ্ট পাবে তাই আমি কি করি এগুলোকে এর পাশাপাশি একটু মজার করে এই এক্সপেরিয়েন্স গুলোকে দেখার চেষ্টা করি there is nothing funny about suicide there is nothing funny about cancer but if you want you can remember the negative part or if you want you can remember the positive part the choice is actually yours if you remember the negative part you will be suffering forever whenever you remember it but if you remember the positive part you will always find some happiness out of it so আমি আজকে তোদেরকে একটা টাস্ক দিচ্ছি যেটা আমি নেক্সট থার্সডেতে ধরবো I want you to write down one small little story about one incident in your life which was extremely embarrassing guys just give me 1 minute I'll just come give me 1 minute and then I'll explain the task